Okay, so shout out to Sharon Smiles, subscriber and follower of the channel. Thank you for your support. She recommended that I look at this Summer Wells case, and looked into it, downloaded quite a few videos to kind of go over. So we're just going to kind of go over them and kind of see what we can find. But I did kind of the picture I have here is, I have two pictures. One of her kind of smiling here, and the other one of her kind of, looking a little bit less happy, maybe upset with something. So the thing with Summer Wells is, they draw similarities to the JonBenet case, in that Summer was 5, actually younger than JonBenet, when her abduction was reported. Summer was 5, and to this day, 3 years later, 3 or 4 years later, something like that. I think she was abducted in 2021, and it's now 2024. So they're still kind of looking. They don't know anything. And so in this analysis, I just kind of want to go through first a face read, and then kind of go through a short video. And then in the next, I'll go through like an article, and then kind of go from there and give you my thoughts moving forward on some of the body language that I perceive and things of that nature. So I wanted to kind of break down Summer because it's interesting. So I wrote some notes down. And so this picture here to me sort of indicates somebody who's very lively, very outdoorsy, adventurous, someone who has a big personality, very active, very expressive, animated, so very naturally enthusiastic, probably loves to share excitement with others. I think what was given to us in one of the videos that I skimmed through was her dad called her a tomboy. And so I can definitely see that here. So which is not a bad thing. She loves being outside, enjoying hands-on activities, exploring, getting dirty. And I think she also has an affinity for animals and a sort of natural curiosity for the world around her. I contrast that with, let me see, this pic right here on the right-hand side. This on the left-hand side in the white shirt, that's an age progressed photo that they're putting out to try to find her. But on the right-hand side in the red dress or red shirt, kind of the same, but less, she looks like she's not smiling anymore. And so from there, I contrasted and said, okay, little bit of complexity there. Not that she's not all the things that we just described, but maybe a little bit mischievous, strong-willed, right? When she sets her mind on something, she doesn't easily back down, even if there might be a little bit of conflict now and then. So kind of being stubborn a little bit in some cases, showcasing an independence for herself. And so at times that could be a real challenge for her parents. And it just depends on what kind of parent you are to kind of handle that. Some parents have anxiety. We would have to break down her dad's personality and her mom's personality in contrast to her brother's personality. She has 3 brothers, to kind of see what that is. How do the parents deal with the brothers versus her, because she seems a lot more active. So some people or some parents might just say, that's Summer, that's what she does, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, on the other hand, just all in all, Summer comes across as somebody who's outgoing, active, connects with nature, animals, very strong personality, huge zest for exploration in life, somebody who's very memorable. She's there. When she comes in the room, bright personality, boom, Summer's in the room. She's loud, boisterous, and is just who she is. Some cases she can be a handful, but very free-spirited and independent. And so if based on just this face read for her, if I were to do like a Myers-Briggs off of that, might be ESTP, somebody who is extroverted, sensing, thinking, perceiving. Say that again: extroverted, sensing, thinking, and perceiving. Somebody, and when we say extroverted, I'm meaning somebody is outgoing, active, engaged with the world around her, like we discussed, likely enjoying interacting with people, animals, and the outdoors. So she likes to be outdoors. Sensing is somebody who's very hands-on and observant, loves the physical activities and exploration, and notices and enjoys the small details in nature and animals. thinking, displaying a lot of or a bit of independence, tough side, suggesting a practical and logical approach, especially if she's determined or wants things her way. The interesting thing there, when we say that she's thinking, I can definitely see the logical and practical approach. Like if you start talking all this smart stuff, she might be like, just talk to me normal, talk to me like a human being. And she would be funny in that way. So a bit humorous. Perceiving, but that doesn't mean she's dumb. That just means that, like, using all these big terms, talk to me normal. Perceiving, last thing here is perceiving, very flexible, spontaneous, open to exploration, likely enjoying freedom to roam and experience new things, possibly with a bit of mischief and stubbornness. So the video that I wanted to look at, though, was of her parents. Yeah, the video that I wanted to look at was of her parents. And so we'll just kind of work through this one and see what we can find.
I know she didn't walk away.
Let me just say this, a quick backdrop. They live in rural Tennessee, on a little plot of their own. She has 3 brothers, mom and dad. Apparently the issue of the case was that she was outside planting. So this is in the daytime, planting with her grandmother and her mom, planting in the garden or whatever. Then she wanted to run inside and play with her brothers. And then somewhere along the line, she went inside to play with her brothers. Apparently went down in the basement, maybe to go play with her toys. But all of a sudden she just disappeared, is what the story is. I got concerned, number one, when we talked about rural Tennessee, because I have family that lives out in the country. Their sentiment is that, and the blame was placed on some red truck, coming out, and maybe taking her. So we need to look into the red truck, is what's being said. My concern with the rural, and it's a 5,000 city of like 5,000, so everybody knows everybody for the most part. You see a lot of familiar faces. This being in rural Tennessee, and everybody knowing everybody for the most part, this is my assumption. When people come down a road, people don't just come down a road to be coming down a road. You come down a road with intent, or at least the sentiment, for my family members. So if you come down a road, and my family members would say, you come down this back road and I don't know you, you know what I mean? I'm going to get my piece, just what you doing back here? Either you're back here because you just got lost, or you're back here because you're up to no good. And that could be the case here. But the fact of the matter is that CPS came and took the kids, the 3 brothers. And so the dad used a very interesting phrase saying that, we know that, she was taken, and when we know that she had to be taken by car. And he's saying he knows. We know she was taken. We know she had to be taken by car because, you can't get out of here relatively quickly unless you have a car, of course, as I thought. But then he goes on to say they've now kidnapped our other kids, but we don't know what happened this summer. Well, you just told us. You just told us that she was kidnapped. So that's really weird for you to say that. And he said, we hope she's doing okay. He goes on to say that we hope she's doing okay, but we hope that there's an eternal life for her, because there's no way that we would keep out or keep hope that she's okay. Okay. Assumptions that we don't know what's happened to her. We can keep looking for her. I don't know where we're jumping to assumptions, but those are the things that concern me. And there are some other things as I skim through this one that concern me about this video. So here we go.
Away from this property by herself, or off this yard by her swing. I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here. Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay, and I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And
so this is in broad day. Like, you had coverage. You have 3 brothers. You have 3 young ones and 2 adults. So you got pretty good coverage. When I looked at the property, I mean, you're not just going to a red truck, from what I can tell, is not just going to pop up and run down into the basement, you know what I mean, without anybody knowing. And so a lot of their concern is that people are coming against them and blaming it on them. And they're frustrated with the way that they're being treated. But it's just like, you know, on your property, like who would get down to the basement without you guys knowing? That would be the concern of the cops, which is why the cops, number one, are being tight-lipped about what they know in this case. Number two, that's why the cops would turn your kids over to CPS, just because there's some things that seem fishy in this case. Because you got people out there looking who would just sneak through all of you, go down to the basement and get Summer and bring her back up. Like, because if he's parking the red truck, I'm just, from the onset, that's what's sticking out to me.
Within 2 minutes, I came back. And
2
I
minutes.
asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone. I don't go on walks.
That kidnapper had to be one fast kidnapper to pull by, park the truck, sneak past all of you, sneak in the basement, and wait, and know that Summer was coming to the basement. He had to be, you know, sort of canvassing the area, you know, right? You know, he had to have known, looking specifically for Summer. He had to know what he was coming for. Having done that, he had to have some sort of underground tunnel somewhere to get out of the basement and over the gate with her mouth covered in 2 minutes of her being dropped off. He moves fast, and he's moving with a 5-year-old who is expressive and fights. I think there's a gate around the property. How would you get around over the gate with a 5-year-old fussy child?
Around here or runs because I'm scared of the bears and snakes and even the coyotes that are around here. Well, whoever has my daughter, I pray and hope that they have not harmed her and they bring her back to us safe and sound.
A lot of this is my concern with this. If you know who Susan, I think it's Susan, let me see, Susan Smith. Susan Smith was a case, and I'm going to cover it. Susan Smith was a case where she had 2 young boys. And what ended up happening was that Susan actually unalived her boys because she wanted to marry a rich guy. And she had already checked out of her marriage and she wanted to marry a rich guy. And when she was describing the scenario, she was saying, oh, a black guy did it. You need to be looking for a black guy wearing this, that, and the third, which made me mad, obviously, because I knew she was lying from the get-go. And like I said, I'll cover the case and I'll tell you why I knew she was lying from the get-go, having never seen anything about it at all. But she, to me, is doing the same aimless talking that somebody who was guilty, to me, somebody who is guilty or is trying to come up with an alibi on the spot or is trying to say something believable. She's talking aimlessly and saying things like she was just gone like a lawnmower. That's how she said that. Gone like a lawnmower was just taken out of the yard. I came back and I looked for my lawnmower and the lawnmower was just gone. You're describing a child. Like this is crazy. You see what I'm saying? Like my child was gone and, you know, she's describing it like it's disconnected from her.
Go to the FBI, the police, and clear it up. I don't know. It seems kind of elusive.
It's really strange that I've never seen this truck and I've never heard of it until just recently. But I wish they would come forward and explain themselves.
There it is.
I mean, if you're not,
I wish they would come forward. What criminal do we know is just going to come forward?
not a suspect, at least come forward and say what you've seen. She was a tomboy. I shaved my head. She wanted to have her head shaved like me and the boys did.
She tried to shave her head
She tried
in
to
the
shave her
back
head
and make
herself.
it, I think you can see it in some of the pictures, and it was getting out of control. So we decided to shave her head off and let it grow back long, and she shaved her head to so she wouldn't feel bad, and but it didn't bother her at this point. Well, I knew right away that she was abducted. You know, I knew that right away, and that's what I told them from the beginning. But they have to go through their, you know.
The way his eyes are wandering, um, it tells me that he's thinking of scenario. Like he's it. The way his eyes are wandering and the way the inflection of his voice would suggest to me at this point that he is being sincere. He really doesn't know, and he's trying to find something. The basis of that, again, would be the Susan Smith case that I just referenced, where the mom was kind of aimlessly talking, but the dad was kind of, just off in the, in the background thinking, trying to be like, I don't know what could have happened, but maybe this is the case. I think this, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We got to come up with something. So that initially, from what I'm seeing here,
I forget the word.
Investigation.
We have to do one step at a time, I guess, but I'm sorry that they had to spend so many man hours in these woods and everything. I've seen them limping and everything else, and I feel for them. But I just wish there was a way that neighbors could search neighbors' houses, and then if they're not willing, get a search warrant or something. But there's just no way you can search every single house, in the eastern United States or whatever. But I wish there was a way. Just thankful for the person or persons that's doing that, out of love, and trying to get information and trying to get her found. And we thank them from the bottom of our hearts.
That means a lot.
And we thank everybody.
That was kind of the first questionable thing I think he said was, I wish there was a way to get sort of like a warrant is what he's suggesting, to search other people's houses, which is not, it makes sense. I get that. But it's more externalizing. Of course, if you believe there was a kidnapping, then we would want to search the neighbor's house. But let's stay focused on the vehicle. Like, was it the vehicle or not? What can you tell us about the red truck that you're describing as you're sure that, because I might, and I could be wrong. I haven't seen the neighborhood, but these houses probably aren't really close together. But it could be the case that they're close enough to where, I take her and put her in the basement of my own and then kind of keep her locked up and chained up. And so therefore, if the red truck is, you would see the red truck in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? You would see the red truck in the neighborhood or something like that. And so I guess it would make sense to try to search your neighbor's home. So I guess that makes sense.
He was trying so hard and praying so hard, and she's an awesome young lady, and we just want her back. But, there's always going to be haters, and it's always going to be that way in this world, and we just want to focus on the good friends and Christian people that are trying to help us and praying for us and praying for Summer, and we thank them from the bottom of our hearts. And that's the kind of people we try to relate with and socialize with. So we don't know anything about, no red truck, or we hardly know many of our neighbors. Because we just try to be around good people. And we do have good people in this area. We found out since this has all happened. We got some real good neighbors and good folks everywhere. But
the most important thing is to bring Summer home.
That's okay. What? You just said we want to search our neighbor's house. Let's check into the red truck that the FBI was talking about, or whoever was talking about. In the same interview later on, you're talking about our neighbors are good people, good Christian folks. We don't know anything about a red truck. What? Which one is it?
I'm sorry that you feel this way about us, but we love our children with everything we have. We've never went without, thanks to Summer's daddy and my husband. He's always provided for us, and has worked as much as he could and can and still is. And I'm sorry that you guys feel that way, but that's my baby, and nobody would ever treat her like that as long as I was around, ever.
She loves to dance. She would always want me. She says, "Daddy, hold my hand so I can twirl," and she would just like to twirl and twirl and twirl till my arm got tired, you know. But I put out there that one of Summer's favorite songs was Godzilla, and they say, and they're jumping all over me about past tense.
She just said Summer's daddy. The mom just said, Candace just said Summer's daddy. And my husband, talking about this gentleman right here. But then he comes back and says, well, she called me daddy. She called me dad. Okay.
That was, well, I'm sorry about that. It's just.
She also liked the song by New Breed. It was called House, My House. She sung that a lot of times when I play it on the TV. She loved to dance.
She liked to think of herself as a princess, and and all that, like all young girls do.
Mm-hmm.
And
she loved Frozen. She loved to be that Elsa, and
I think she really loved to be in church because she felt a lot of love there. And I think you can't explain what that love is, but you feel it and you know it, when you're young. And she felt that there, and she loved everybody in that church. Or she loves everybody in that church. I should rephrase that because
I was initially suspicious of the mom. Now I'm starting to become suspicious of both of them. Because this is aimless talking. Like, we're talking about the case. I understand you're introducing me to your daughter in some ways, or probably asking questions like, what is she like? What is this? What is that? So we can get a better feel. But like this, the way that she's being described and talked about is a bit aimless. Like, I understand, well, she loves this, she loves this, she loves this, click, click, click. But going into, and the people down at the church, they just loved her and this, that, and that. Okay.
Tear that apart is past tense, and I apologize again for that. I hope she gets to come home, and I hope she gets to be with our church family again.
Our best friend in
past tense, and I apologize again for that. And she loved everybody in that church. Or she loves everybody in that church. I should rephrase that because they'll tear that apart is past tense, and I apologize again for that.
What would you expect us to do? You're using past tense. You're using past tense, my brother. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to figure out what a girl is, and you are saying you don't know anything about it. You still have hope, but you're talking about the girl in past tense. Do you know something that we don't know that would allow you to have a brain slip that puts her in past tense? Come on, man. Like, I'm not trying to harp on every single thing, but you're saying stuff that's alarming to me right now.
I hope she gets to come home, and I hope she gets to be with our church family again.
Our best friend in that church was Robin. She loved her to death.
Yeah, she looked up to women that were...
What about coming home to be with you? The church family is going to come second, but what about coming home to be with you? This is what confuses me when we start talking about, like, John Ramsey had said something to the effect of, I want to solve this case for my kids and my grandkids and the future generations kind of deal. And it's like, well, John, what about you? You're the one who had the most immediate impact on. What about for you and Patsy and her immediate blood brother, Burke? What about that? What about for that?
Come to that church, she went looking for Robin. That was her favorite person.
Any woman that was professional, that
was pretty, beautiful.
She looked up to those kind of women. She, they were the word I'm looking for, I can't think of it, but she looked up to them.
Mm-hmm. Role model.
She'd give them a run for their money every day.
Mm-hmm.
She'd give them a run for their money, and there was times, we'd be, at our boys like, don't do this and don't do that. And next thing you know, the stick would come up just whop them, you know. And be like, Summer, don't do that. You
Summer
know?
was the boss of the family.
That's what I thought.
She,
Typical girl.
when they get out of line, she'd put them in line.
She'd do her best.
She loved to play in the mud and the water and swing on her swing and enjoy dirt.
When I run the lawnmower around, she would run behind.
That's what we said in our analysis, right? I didn't even watch all this. I'm learning stuff as we go. I didn't even watch all this. Come on now.
Behind me. When the boys run their bikes around, she, as fast as that little bike could go, she would be behind them running and keeping up with them, no problem. You know, she loved to run. She just loved to run. And she could pull herself up on that swing, her full body weight with her 2 hands. And she could do that. None of the other boys can do that, but she can.
Was she in school yet?
What I'm seeing in him when he's talking is an admiration. Like when he says he calls himself dad, but what I'm seeing here is an admiration for her, a genuine admiration. Yes, he says some questionable things, but I think that what I'm seeing is a genuine admiration for her, stepping into her life, maybe when she was 1 or 2 years old or something like that, and getting to know her and appreciating her. I don't know when they got married, but it couldn't have been for long, because Summer's only 5. But having a genuine admiration for Summer, so that he says, hey, you know, she was somebody that I really came to love, and I could see myself being a dad to her, being a father to her, being that father figure to her. I really took that serious. And you can tell from what I'm seeing here, he took that serious and he wanted that. So there seems like to be a little bit of disappointment, because he's downtrodden. You know, yeah, she would do all this and she would go down to the church and people just loved her and everybody just loved her. And so, you know, it's just one of those things that there's disappointment there. He's disappointed at something. He just won't tell us where the source of disappointment is coming from, because it seems like you might know, you know.
No, she's going this year.
This was supposed to be her first year of
She's been,
kindergarten.
we did all the, what?
I took care of everything.
Yeah.
I had her already took on all of her shots and read.
Was she in school yet?
No.
And she's trying to convince us, the mom, Candace, is trying to convince us that she was really legitimately taking care of Summer. Like, yo, apparently from what I'm hearing, there were people coming against them saying that they weren't taking care of their kids, hence the CPS and people coming up to the job and so on and so forth. But she's answering those objections here.
No.
She's going this year.
This was supposed
There's something that she's doing, Candace is doing with her eyes.
to be her first year of
She's been,
kindergarten.
we did all the.
That he's talking and she's looking over at him like that. She's checking what he's saying. She's listening. She did that earlier, and I thought about it when I heard it. She did that earlier in the conversation. He was talking and she butted in and said something. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, why? Okay. He wasn't done with what he was saying, but okay, cool.
What?
I took care of everything.
And so now he's looking over at her, almost checking. Well, yeah, you know, almost checking with her. And so now she's about to take the lead in the conversation.
I had her already took on all of her shots and registered in the school for ready for this year.
I just never expected for anyone to get a hold of my heart like she has. Because I try to guard my heart as much as I can, but she just, she holds my heart in her little hands. I love her with all my heart. I'd do anything to have her back.
Little girl.
If there's any
about
way
to
you
cry.
can find it in your heart to please release her somehow. I don't know how you might do that.
What?
You're probably.
What? Just let her go. I mean, it's not hard to release anyone. Just let her go. I don't know what y'all think. I don't know what people think releasing somebody entails. It just entails, first of all, not taking them in the first place. Second of all, let them out. Let them go from wherever you have them. Just let them go. Like it's not rocket science releasing someone. I don't understand that language.
Scared of going to prison for the rest of your life and everything else, I'm sure. but please find it in
Right.
your heart, have mercy, and find a way of letting her go, and where we can get her back. And just please have mercy.
See, now we start going into this circular talking about any way that you can let her go. And this, it makes me think that you know something about, you're trying to convince me that somebody took her, and we're going in a circle. And you're trying to convince me that she's been taken when you really don't know that she's been taken. You see what I'm saying? That girl could be somewhere on the side of the road. I hate to say it like that. She could be somewhere on the side of the road. We don't know if she's been taken or not. But you're trying to convince me that she's still alive. Right? So it's just like you're trying to convince me of the narrative, and we don't even know yet. We don't even know what's going on.
Mercy on her. And
obviously, we can reasonably suggest that she's been kidnapped because she's not here. And if y'all didn't do it, then somebody had to do it. Or why can't we assume that why is it not on the table that the grandmother did something? Why is it not on the table that the brothers did something? Right? I know it wasn't us, but the brothers could have done something. And obviously, as a family, I'm not gonna say my sons did it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say my sons did it. I'm not gonna say, I wonder if those kids are his at all. Because she has older brothers and Summer has a different dad. So did he come in after all of the kids? Or are the boys his and then Summer is with somebody different?
And us and her brothers. And she's such a loving, good spirit. Please don't hurt her. Please let her come home.
What was that?
Is, and us and her brothers. And
she's still checking.
Such a loving, good.
She's still checking. She's checking what he's saying.
Spirit, please.
She's looking, but she's listening. She's looking straight, but she's listening.
Please don't hurt.
And now she click, looks over, and now she's really intently waiting for him. I'm going to see how you about to finish this sentence.
Hurt her, please. Let her come home.
And then, okay, because she was holding her breath there for a second. What you about to say? Yo, hold on. What you got, Candace? What you got going on?
That she's
what you got going on?
Loving, good spirit. Please don't hurt her. Please let her come home.
And then she looked up again. Her eyes cut even sharper.
She's such a loving, good spirit. Please don't hurt her. Please let her come home. That she's, my biggest fear is, her being tormented or locked in a dungeon or basement or something. Because
they must have plumbing issues of some sort. That pipe going around the house, hanging on the side of that house like that.
She loves.
Which is another reason why CPS could have come and been like, "What the heck is going on out here?"
Loved to be outside all the time. That was her. Unfortunately, her downfall. Because a lot of times the boys would be inside and we'd be like, "Where's Summer? Why'd you leave her out there alone? Go get Summer now." And that's happened over and over again. And we'd come out and she would always be close by, but we was always coming up. She had to be outside. She was an outdoor person. And
she loved to be outside.
Yeah.
Wait a minute though. You said that she got kidnapped from the basement. So she wasn't out. You said that she went inside. How is that her downfall? You said that she went inside to play with her brothers and went down to the basement. And then you tried to indicate to me that somehow, some way, she must have went downstairs into the basement and then walked out the back door of the basement. I'm assuming that the basement has a back door. Then she walked out the back door of the basement. and somebody was standing plain as day at the back of the property waiting for her with open arms within 2 minutes of you dropping her off inside the house. Somebody said, you know what? Summer's going to come to the back of the house in the basement, and I'm going to be standing out here waiting for her. But that was inside. Like, she's inside though, but we can't assume that. We have to, from what you told us, last thing you told us was she went inside. Like, so we can't say that it was her fault because she went inside. She wasn't outside.
And I'm so afraid that she's locked away. She's such a loving heart and everything, and I'm afraid that she won't be able to, I'm locked away where she can't be outside or play with a puppy or anything, love nature, and that's my greatest fear, that she's not able to do any of these things anymore, or that she could possibly, I don't want to think she's dead, but it's a possibility. I don't want to address all the negativity. I just want to focus on the positive, because it's so easy to get, lost in that negativity and stuff, and it's just not worth it. So I appreciate y'all for the good things you say. I don't want to address all the negativity. Do any of these things anymore, or that she could possibly, I don't want to think she's dead.
But see, this is what I'm saying, the genuineness between what he's saying, because he's like, yo, she might be dead. I really don't know. I don't want to think about that. He's just talking. I'm just talking about the possibilities. And her mom got mad that he would be talking about the possibilities. Why would you be mad at me that I'm talking about possibilities? Maybe because you're trying to get me to stick to a story?
But it's a possibility. I don't want to.
What are you frustrated for? What are you mad at me for? I'm just talking. She got an attitude. Seems unreasonable.
Address all the negativity.
Yo, she's really mad. Like, how could you say what? How could you? But I'm a little concerned at how mad she is at this, at him saying something like that. I'm concerned at why she would be this mad, not only to like side eye him, but to turn her head completely to him, as in, how dare you? How dare you say something like that? Why would you say something like that? Why would you do that? I'm a bit concerned.
I just want to focus on the positive.
And yo, she doesn't care where she's at. You know the camera can see you making this face at him on national television.
It's so easy to get, lost in that negativity and stuff, and it's just not worth it. So I'm just, I appreciate y'all for the good things you say and your prayers. That's awesome.
When my sister went missing, I was in between Arkansas and Tennessee. I don't know all of what happened or what did happen, but I hope that they find her too and bring her home safely too.
Yeah, there's nothing. She disappeared without a trace.
But I hope that
things you say and your prayers. That's awesome.
When my sister went missing, I was in between Arkansas and Tennessee. I don't know all. When my sister went missing, I was in between.
So easy to get, lost in that negativity and stuff, and it's just not worth it. So I'm just, I appreciate y'all for the good things you say and your prayers. That's awesome.
When my sister went missing, I was in between Arkansas and Tennessee. I don't know all of what happened or what did happen, but I hope that they find her too and bring her home safely too.
Yeah, there's nothing. She disappeared without a trace. They haven't found it.
I don't know all of what happened or what did happen, but I hope that they find her too and bring her home.
But I hope that they find her too. Like, and then watch her mouth. She's going to go like that. She's upset with him.
Safely too.
Yeah,
that right there. That's a let me set the record straight kind of statement and follow up.
There's Nothing. I mean, she
She's
disappeared without a
furious.
trace. They haven't found anything, haven't found a body, nothing.
I mean, but
and,
he's just talking.
and, you know, when you see cases like that, that's why I lose hope on Summer. You know, I want to keep hope, but sometimes I lose.
So like the JonBenet Ramsey case, people who believe the intruder theory have said, oh, you know, the intruder, there was somebody they did this to another young lady, you know, prior or after in the same area. So that's probably what happened to JonBenet. And they're kind of appealing to the same thing. There was a case between Arkansas and Tennessee that it could have been this person who, you know, kidnapped somebody else. So, you know, we hope that person gets returned, but it's probably the same person who's done the same thing to Summer as well. So it's appealing to that kind of line of logic.
So, and I think, well, maybe we won't never see her again, you know. So I start thinking in past tense. Sorry, but I'm trying to keep hope up. I'm trying to keep my prayers up and all that.
Okay. I got some more that I want to take a look at, but for now, appreciate the tip, sharing, and till next video, take it easy.